What's up, people? It's that time again to show records and just babble like an idiot about music. It's what I love to do on these videos. So anyway, here is the latest batch of records. This came over the weekend. It was President's Day weekend here. I had 3 days off, and for all 3 days, the weather was just absolutely perfect here in Northern California. Sunny, warm, temperatures in the low 70s. Beautiful day to be out, beautiful weekend to be outside. And so I spent one of those days on my 3-day weekend vinyl digging, and I came up with some good stuff, so I'll show you what came of that. This, of course, the first I'm going to show I've had in my collection now, going now a week and a half or so. It is the Phil Collins reissues. The whole series is called Take a Look at Me Now, and basically it's all his solo albums remastered, and they come out 2 CDs and 2 vinyl records, or vinyl albums at a time, until you collect the whole catalog of his solo albums. So the first 2 that came out was Face Value, and as you can see, current photograph reproducing the album artwork, the back of his baldy ass head and the back of the record. And the second one was Both Sides, again Phil Collins as he is now, reproducing the cover, so really nice. So here we are. These 2 sound great remastered. Absolutely fantastic. Face Value, the drum sound in the air tonight, my God, it made the whole room shake. It sounded like thunder in here. It's amazing. The drum sound on this is just really, really good. I mean, I'm speechless how good the drums sound. But the whole album sounds great, remastered. Long overdue, because I thought a lot of his solo records could use a remixing, remastering treatment. So it's good that he's finally getting his ass around to it. So, and this is one of my favorite Phil Collins albums, and remastered, it just wakes everything up. Sonically, the record sounds thicker, more powerful. But all the instruments and keyboards and background sounds are layered so well. It really sounds good, And of course they come with, both the records are also remastered on a CD. And I got both the CDs. There we are. And once again, same artwork. What makes the CDs different, in the Face Value, it comes with a 2 CD set, and the first CD, of course, is the whole album remastered on CD. The second CD is the extras CD with rare live versions of a lot of the songs from the album Face Value, and songs that came from that session, like live version of Misunderstanding and demo version of the song Please Don't Ask, which was on a Genesis album, Duke, but was written at the time of Face Value, so he included it on there. Same thing, same deal with Both Sides, the album remastered, and then an extras disc with rare live recordings of songs that came from this album, as well as some demos too, an acoustic version of the song Both Sides of the Story. The funny thing about Both Sides is this album first came out in 1994. I bought it the day it came out on CD from Tower Records, rushed home, put on the CD player, listened to it. By the time the first song on the album is the song Both Sides of the Story, they're already playing that song on the radio and on MTV. So I already knew I liked that song, but once we get to the rest of the album, I was so disappointed in this record, this album on CD. I listened to it all in its entirety for the very first time back in '94, and absolutely hated this album, and hated it so much that I took the CD out of the CD player, back in the jewel case, drove back to Tower Records and demanded my money back. It's the first time I've ever done that with any album. Well, the only time I've ever done that. And they were cool enough to give me my money back. So Yeah, that's the first thing that pops in my head when I see both sides of the story. Like, this is the album I returned the day I bought it. But now that I'm older, I gotta admit I like both sides a lot more now that I'm in my 40s than I did when I was in my 20s back in 1994. I guess I can't say it's my favorite Phil Collins album. It really is not, but I like about half the songs on the album. Back then, I didn't like any songs on the album except for the song Both Sides of the Story. The rest of the album I thought sucked back then. Now there's about 5 songs on here or so that I think are really good. The rest of it, I just don't like. So anyway, but yeah, I'm real excited that these remasters are now out on vinyl. They sound fantastic. At the end of the month, at the end of February, he'll release the albums Hello Must Be Going and Testify. And yeah, I pre-ordered those, so we'll see how those sound when they come in. So Phil Collins, Take a Look at Me Now with the remasters. I'm really glad to have that. All right, let's move on. This is from the President's Day Weekend Dig. I went to my favorite store in Sacramento called Esoteric Records, and he had a lot of, that day he had a lot of Japanese copies of albums. So I grabbed 3 of them. The first one is from The Who, Quadrophenia, with a really cool Obi strip. This is one of my favorite Who albums, The Real Me, Love Reign Over Me, Sea and Sand, I Am One, 515, some great songs on here. And, well, we've all seen The Gatefuls, so I won't show you that. But, you know, it came with the nice inserts, all written in Japanese, so naturally I have no clue what it says. In fact, there we go. So, all the cool inserts, and we got, of course, the lyric sheet, all written in Japanese, and pretty cool find. You know, I already had a copy of this on vinyl, but when you find these cool Japanese copies with the Obi strip, even if you already have the album, get it anyway, because these pressings are so badass, and this definitely was a must-have. And spun it, and it was, oh, it sounded so good on the turntable. One of my favorite Who albums. Absolutely love it, especially the song "The Real Me." Oh, that's like the Who at their best, in my opinion. Absolutely love this album, so it's cool to find a great Japanese copy with the Obi strip. These next 2 are Japanese copies. There's no Obi strip, but it does have the insert. It's Robert Plant's first album. Well, I think it's his second solo album. Never mind. Robert Plant's second solo album, The Principle of Moments. There we go. A little slip of the tongue there. Forgot there was one album before this. And I mean, it looks just like the normal copy. There's no Obi strip, but the insert, it does have the insert. And even though I can't read this, I love it when these Japanese pressings have these inserts with all the text that I could never read. But pretty cool. It even has the original insert. There we go. Phil Collins drums on most of the songs on here. In fact, there's this picture there. So he played on 2 of Robert Plant's solo albums and did a solo tour with them as his drummer. So pretty cool. And his drumming's really good on it. And it has a custom label, as you can see there. Real good pressing of this album. Japanese pressings usually sound really good. So I was real happy to score this. I am a big fan of his first 2 solo albums. Well, I like a lot of his solo albums, but his first 2 were my favorite. He had a lot of good songs. The one song that I just absolutely love is In the Mood. It was the hit single that came off this album, that and Big Log. But In the Mood is such a good song. I love that song. Big Log's not bad either. I mean, I think that song too. But In the Mood is such a good song. Really good album. Really good album. So really good to score a Japanese pressing of it. And the last Japanese pressing album I have is from Genesis. It's Trespass. Again, there's no Obi strip. That would have been awesome if there was one. but unfortunately there is not. I don't have a used copy of Trespass. I have the green Genesis vinyl box set that came out a couple years ago, and it has a copy of Trespass in there, so that, to me, that served as my copy of Trespass on vinyl. But this was cool to find. He only wanted $4 for it too, which I thought was strange. But and there's the Japanese insert. And there's all the writing. I have no clue what that says. Absolutely no idea. And lyrics and credits and all that crap on this one too. But a really cool find. Not my favorite Genesis album, but I do like it. Stagnation is really good. Looking for Someone is good. And of course the song The Knife is awesome. Especially the instrumental section of it. There's that cool Charisma label. There's the Mad Hatter. I love that label. So, every Genesis album should have that label. Even the ones in the 80s. So, this was a good find. This was a really good find. I'm glad I hunted this one down. Japanese copy of Trespass. Like I said, not my favorite, but what's good on here is just awesome. The one song I can never get into is White Mountain, even though it's fans of old Genesis, that's like one of their favorite songs. I could never get into White Mountain. I even have a bootleg when Phil Collins took over as singer in '76, and they played White Mountain. I couldn't get into it then either. I don't think I'll ever get into that song, but Trespass, Japanese copy, that was a great find. Alright, the next batch here is from a store called Dimples in Sacramento. Always find good stuff there. This was a cool picture disc. This is from the Steve Miller Band. The name of the album is Book of Dreams. That is a rad looking picture disc. Take it out and you can get a better look at. That is just very cool. I was pretty happy to find that. As you can see here, side 1 and side 2 have the same picture. And there's no writing on this picture disc, so it is a bitch to figure out which is side 1 and which is side 2. You just gotta give it your best guess, basically, and you'll know once the song kicks in if you guessed right or wrong. But really good album. Love this album. Of course, Jetliner, Swing Town, Jungle Lover brought the popular songs on here. I really like the song Wintertime. That's a cool tune. So this is a good album to listen to. Pretty good find with a picture disc. I thought that was a decent score, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. From Kansas, Left Overture. I hate when people write their names on their records, and there I got Fitz's album. Was it Fitz? Yeah, Fitz. Yeah, so I got Fitz's album here. His old Kansas leftover copy, or Left Overture, I should say. But a really good album. And there's the original. There's the original insert, and that's definitely a band from the 70s. Look at that. Really cool. What label is this on? It is on Kirshner label, so really old school there. Look at that. Really cool album. Of course, Carry On Wayward Son was like the big classic rock hit on this one, but some good music on here all throughout. I really enjoy this one. It was one of the older Kansas albums I was missing, so it was nice to score a good copy of it, even though someone wrote on it. But oh well, it was still a good score. This one I got in this habit of going on YouTube and looking up clips from the old 70s TV show, The Midnight Special, because that used to be one of my favorite shows to watch when I was a kid. It was my exposure to music and kind of rock concerts. If I could stay up that late, because it came on at midnight, and I usually would peter out by 12:30, 12:40. But you see some great bands on there, and so I the last couple of weeks I've been going on YouTube and looking up all the clips from the Midnight Special TV show, and I found a couple clips from Gary Wright. So it made me want to get his album. So I got Gary Wright, The Dreamweaver, because I love the way he sang Love is Alive and the song Dreamweaver on the Midnight Special TV show. He sounded so good live, and it just made me remember those songs. So I scored this for a couple of bucks, and I actually like most of the album. Can't remember the label. It's just a Warner Brothers label, no biggie. I hate this cover. I do hate this cover. Not the best cover in the world. That hype sticker's cool though. But I did enjoy listening to the album. Besides the songs I like, Love is Alive and Dreamweaver. Not a bad album. I can't say I'm going to listen to it a lot, but you know, watching those old Midnight Special clips on YouTube really got me in the mood to get that album, and so that was cool. Next up, from Steve Hillage, Motivation Radio. I have one of his live albums. I bought a live album from Steve Hillage a couple of months ago. It's called Live Herald, and really liked that live record, so it made me want to get into his studio album, so I thought I would just start here. Probably because it was the only Steve Hillage album that was in the store, and it only costed $1. So I thought, perfect place to start. There's the original insert. What's cool about this, you know, though it's on the Atlantic label, it also has the Virgin Record logo on it as well. I've never seen that before, so I thought that was interesting. More or less, this is a good album. I love the guitar work on it. Some of the vocals are a little iffy, but the guitar work on it was really good, and it's an enjoyable listen. Mostly progressive rock, so some of the songs kind of sound a little odd, but in a progressive rock way. So, but it was actually a good album. I do like this, so glad I picked it up. All right, these last two records. I'm going to not end on, but the last two 12-inch records came from a store called Delta Breeze, which is also in Sacramento, a tiny little store. One of the smallest record stores I've ever been in. But what's cool about this place is they also rebuild and sell used turntables, receivers, and speakers, so you really get a blast of nostalgia when you're in this place because of all the old gear they got lying around. And you could find some cool stuff in there. So I got this one from Camel, the Snow Goose, from that store, and this is a special promo copy. And on this sticker, you can see this went out to radio stations, and it highlights the albums that they wanted the radio station to consider for airplay. Songs like the Snow Goose, and so hey, really cool. And it's a promo copy. I can't remember the label on this. Janus label, something like that. I've never seen that label before, so pretty interesting. Another progressive rock band, Camel. I have a couple of their albums. My favorite is the album Mirage, but this one was pretty good. Pretty much some good music throughout the record. There are some kind of acoustic songs with a lot of flute in it that I guess was okay, but when the whole band does their more fusion prog rock jams on here, they really sound good. So I like most of what I heard on this album. Pretty good. So Camel, the Snow Goose promo copy, that was a really good find. Yeah, I think it was like $8. I think I got it for $8 or something like that. Really cool find. This was really cool to find. It was only $6. I love the band Missing Persons from the 80s, and I found this 12-inch single picture disc from Missing Persons for the song Words, and on the B side is the song US Drag and No Way Out. It's from their very first album called Spring Session M, and this was such a cool find. I never knew this existed, so I was real thrilled to find it. So there's a picture on the first side, and there's a picture. Well, this is actually side A. The white side is side B, but really good find. Really glad I tracked this one down. I love that first album from Missing Persons, and the song Words, such a great song. If you're a fan of early '80s pop rock, this was a good song, Words, and Missing Persons. That first album from Missing Persons was pretty cool. So this was a really good score for me to add to my Missing Persons collection. You know, that first album I thought was really good. The ones after that, that they were starting to fade. You think the debut was pretty much the best one. Though there were good songs on their other albums, the first one was like the best album from Missing Persons. So this was a great find. Well, that's going to do it for the records. Let me show you some 7-inch singles. Go through them real quick. I got this from Prince, from the Batman soundtrack, these two singles. I saw them side by side like this and thought, ooh, that looks cool. The purple one is called the Arms of Orion, and the yellow one is for the song Party Man. And I wasn't too impressed with this one. The song, it's a ballad. It was okay, but I can't say I was too happy with it. On the B-side, we have the song I Love You and Me. Both ballads, romantic songs. It didn't do much for me. Party Man was okay. Party Man was pretty cool. And it was, let's see what it's backed with. It's backed with the song called Fill You Up. Both on the Warner Brothers label. I just thought it looked, when I saw these two kind of just sitting together like this, I thought, oh, cool. I gotta admit, I'm not that impressed with the songs. No, they're alright, but oh well. Let's move on. From Sade, the song Paradise. Love this song. Great song from Sade. Even though it's just basically a groove, a bass and drum and percussion groove. Just a great song. Really dig this song. And yeah, great find. All these 45s were $1 each. From Stevie Nicks, If Anyone Falls. It was from the album The Wild Heart. In fact, there's what the album cover looks like, to give you an idea. Yeah, really good song. I remember I always loved that song from Stevie Nicks. Came out, I think, in '82. And it's on Modern Records, is the label. It's back with the song Wild Heart. So that was a really good find for $1. I always like the video from If Anyone Falls. Really good video, really good song. One more from Stevie Nicks, Edge of 17. That picture does not look like Stevie Nicks at all. Probably isn't her, but maybe it is. I don't know. But I don't think it looks like her. And it's from her first solo album, Belladonna. And that's what the cover looks like. I really like this one. It has a studio version of Edge of 17. And the B-side is the live version recorded in LA in 1981. It's also on Modern Records, the label. So pretty cool. That was a good fun. The live version of the song is really good, so really glad I scored that. From Howard Jones, No One Is to Blame. This is the remake he did with Phil Collins on drums and Phil Collins on background vocals. Came out in, I think, late '85. From the Action Instant Replay. Oh, and there's a cover. I really do love this song and love the remake. I thought it was a good song. Being a big Phil Collins fan, anything he did on drums outside of his solo career and Genesis was always interesting to listen to. And this was a cool song from the 80s, and always loved the song. I like both versions. There's another version on the album Dream Into Action that doesn't, the original version that doesn't have Phil Collins on it. Very different from this, but I think both versions are awesome. So, really good song. And the last 45 is from The Police. De Do Do Da, whatever the hell this song is called. And something I had on a 45 before, but it didn't have it with this label. That was the only reason I got it. So, De Do Do Da, whatever. I'm tired of trying. But great song from The Police. Cool. I guess I'll end on a cassette. I've never seen this on cassette before. I bought this at Esoteric only because I've never seen it before. It's the first Genesis album from Genesis to Revelation. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it on cassette. In this region, it's pretty hard to come by. And I hadn't even listened to it yet, but it was a pretty cool find. And yeah, so the very first Genesis album on cassette, that was such a cool find. I was like, wow, that's neat. Anyway, that's gonna do it there. I've probably made this video way too long, as always. Man, that was fun digging. The weather was so good here on the holiday weekend. Sunny and warm. Feels like springtime again. It's great. Anyway, that's gonna do it. Hope everyone's doing well. See you guys later. Take care.